Hello parents, thank you for coming to Meadowbrook Elementary to view this iPad parent orientation video. We're asking all parents who have students at Meadowbrook that will be receiving iPads for their learning to view this presentation and view the district issued video that's included in this presentation. We want to help give you an idea of what the expectations are and give you an opportunity to hear the frequently asked questions. Our goals for this presentation include that we want to review the online Waukesha One resources so that you're aware of what's available online to help you answer your questions and troubleshoot your problems. We'd like you to watch the parent orientation video that was produced by the Waukesha One orientation team. We'd like to review the process for our rollout in grades 2 through 5 here at Meadowbrook. We'd like to show you how to manage the iPad at home and to give you some helpful tips and advice towards being successful in having the iPad in your home. We'd like to discuss the personal use of apps, process, and procedures that we have installed here at Meadowbrook. And then finally address the paperwork issues. What is Waukesha One? The Waukesha One initiative began approximately 4 years ago, and we are now first experiencing the actual rollout of devices with students this month at Meadowbrook. The idea of Waukesha One is to help personalize the learning experience for all children and give them an opportunity to use technology to improve their learning experience overall. Waukesha One has been an initiative that has involved a lot of professional staff development for your teaching staff, which will hopefully trickle down into positive classroom experiences using technology with your children. At this time, what I'd like you to do is watch the parent orientation video produced by the school district. So please press play.
Hello, and thank you for your time today. This presentation, called Signs of the Times, is intended to provide information and education to parents and guardians of students in our Waukesha One schools. The first stop on our journey today is expectations at school. In this, we focus on the daily expectations of students, day-to-day use of the device, and general rules while at school. The first expectation we have of our students is that the device comes to school charged and it is present each day. The device is going to become an important part of a student's learning environment. As a result of that, a student who comes to class without their iPad or without having it charged is very much like a student who came to class without their materials, a writing utensil, or their textbook before iPads were available. So it's very important that students come to school with those each day. Additionally, it's important for parents to understand that if they're interested in purchasing an additional charger, they can do so. One charger will be provided and the charging cable to each family. Additional chargers can be purchased at local stores if families believe this is something they would be interested in. The next guideline is this. Appropriate use guidelines will be enforced and should be followed closely. Each student and a parent or guardian signed the appropriate use guidelines when the iPad was distributed. You should be aware of what is on that sheet, and you should also, if interested, request an additional copy of it. You can do this through somebody at your local school. We want parents to understand that these devices belong to the school district of Waukesha. While we encourage you to use them, to personalize them, and to make them a part of your son or daughter's learning experience, these devices can be monitored and collected while at school. It's important to understand that this means that they can be monitored remotely. Remote monitoring can consist of viewing the apps that are on that iPad, seeing what its internet search history has been, determining if it has been charged recently, and gathering a bit of other information as necessary. It is important to note, though, that the camera on these devices cannot be accessed or monitored by the district staff. These devices can be searched at random, they can be collected and maintained by district staff as well as the district staff member sees fit. The next topic is apps for school. Your son or daughter has been issued a set of core apps through the self-service app on your iPad. These are apps that are provided in order to provide all students and staff members a common baseline of apps by which they can plan their learning activities. Additional apps that a teacher may wish to use or may recommend to students in the classroom should not be required, and parents and guardians should have sufficient time to review the app prior to installing it on the device. Additionally, these apps should have no additional cost associated with them. And that pretty much covers the basic expectations while at school. I'll just note that these tools are intended for academic purposes, and anything outside of the use of academic purposes is a violation of the iPad use guidelines. Our next stop is customizing the iPad. We are in a self-management model, which means we entrust the management of the device to our students and their families. We believe this honors the true power and purpose of providing these devices to students. When we customize the iPad, it provides options for the students to use the iPad for more functional and fun use. The school district will be providing cases. These cases are sufficient for most wear and tear protection. However, we understand that each family knows his or her son or daughter better and may require additional protection. Each family will determine if a more protective case is needed, and in making this decision, will incur whatever cost associated with purchasing that new case. It is not a requirement of the School District of Waukesha to purchase an additional case. The one provided is sufficient. We hear from people that they are concerned about on-screen keyboarding. This means using the keyboard on the iPad to type papers, emails, and other word process documents. In our research of other one-to-one rollouts, on-screen keyboarding was a sufficient way for many of our young people to word process documents as needed for academic purposes. However, you know your son or daughter better than anybody. If you feel that there need to be additional options for keyboarding, you are certainly welcome to make that decision. Some possible options that exist are purchasing a case that has a built-in keyboard, such as the one seen at lower left here. We also have an option in which you can purchase a USB keyboard and a $40 adapter and connect them together. There are many options, but understand that if you wish to explore these options, it is at your own cost. Our next stop is personalizing app selection. We want you to understand that as a family, you need to make decisions that are best for you in a self-managed model. That means that you can make the decision to purchase apps, free or pay for, that will work for your son or daughter in their academic pursuits. One of the reasons that we went with the iPad as a district was because of the wide variety of tools and applications that can assist our students regardless of their needs or interests. To truly put the power of that personalization into effect, we encourage families to explore what apps will work best for them. We want you to be aware, though, that any fees incurred as a result of purchasing applications not specified by the district will be solely the responsibility of the family. In addition to that, though, the apps that are purchased on your Apple ID, which is managed by the family, are the property of the family and can be used on other Apple devices if the family has them, or in the future on Apple devices as you and your family see fit. These apps are not the property of the School District of Waukesha. In selecting personalized apps that work best for your son or daughter, please keep in mind that apps should be academically focused and should not provide a distraction while at school. Our next destination is damage and responsibility. As a district, we certainly realize that from time to time bad things can happen, and this is an overview of the reporting and the repair process and the families' and students' responsibilities in that process. It's important to understand that students should return damaged devices to school. No matter the severity of the damage, it's important to report it to a staff member and let them make the decision as to how it should be repaired. Each school should have an assigned staff member, and you should ask your local teachers or administrators who that staff member is in your building. We've designed a return to learning system in which the student can return the original device to school quickly, borrow a loaner device so that they can return to learning as quickly as possible, and then when the damaged device is repaired and returned to the school, that student will swap the loaner device for their original device. In this way, we try to avoid downtime for learners, as we believe more and more learning opportunities will become dependent upon the use of the iPad. In this system, it's important to remember, though, that backup of information is the responsibility of the family and the student. We have many opportunities to back up using resources like Google Drive, iCloud, Dropbox, and other options, but it's the responsibility of the student to make sure their work is backed up so that in the case of damage, they are not without their critical educational work. Of course, there is a financial side to damage that we must discuss. Device damage will incur charges to the student and or the family. We have developed a fee schedule that rewards low incident students with a smaller damage repair fee. For a first offense in which repair must be done to the iPad, the family will be assessed a $30 fee. For a second offense, the family will be assessed a $60 fee. Each additional offense over the life of that loaned device will incur a $100 repair fee. These fees will be assessed to families through the same process as school fees are presently assessed, and payment can be made in the same way as other school fees. In this fee schedule, we must talk about the difference between theft and loss. Our insurance plan indicates that theft is covered by insurance at no cost to the student or their family. In the event that a device is stolen, families must file a police report, and the family must provide a copy to the assigned staff member. School staff will not file this police report for families. It is the responsibility of the student and or the family to be certain to get this police report and to make sure it is on file with the district. Without a police report on file, the item is considered lost by the district. This police report will be the documentation the district needs to file an insurance claim. Be aware that falsified police reports for stolen goods is illegal and can also lead to insurance fraud. If you are uncertain if the device was considered stolen or lost, please contact a district staff member at your building and we will assist you in the process. However, it is important to note that if a device is stolen, one of the first steps that should be taken is notifying somebody at the school so we can use our background monitoring software to possibly track the device. Time is precious, and the sooner somebody is notified of theft or loss, the sooner we can begin tracing it and the more likely it is to be located. This means, though, that loss is not covered by insurance. If a device is lost and a police report cannot be filed as a result, families will be assessed the full replacement cost of the device. In the event that a device is lost, please notify your building staff member who is assigned to assist with iPad issues. Finally, let's talk about expectations at home. As a Waukesha One family, your son or daughter has the privilege of bringing these devices home in order to assist them with their academic work. This is truly the new face of learning in the 21st century, and it will prepare our young people for a highly connected, collaborative, and creative future of work. We certainly realize that as these devices come home, this introduces a new set of responsibilities and potential issues that could take place while the student is at home. This section is intended to provide parents with a sense of what can be done to keep an eye on the device, to be aware of what is being done with that device, and to maintain some control as to when the device is used and what it is used for. Some families may be interested in monitoring internet use at home. While district staff will not be available to assist with setting up or monitoring at home, we do have some solutions that may be valuable to you. If you have an internet router at home, many of them come with monitoring software and options built in. We would encourage you to utilize them. Another option is called OpenDNS. It allows you to set up internet filters on home networks, and services such as OpenDNS are free to use. But any system that you have which will allow you to monitor your students' use at home and internet history would be valuable. A key point that we want all Waukesha One families to remember is that the Apple ID is truly the key to knowing what is on the device and to installing apps and media on that device. We encourage all parents and guardians to maintain control of the Apple ID passwords. Today, in registering your device, you need an Apple ID. This includes a username and a password. Are you presently aware of what the username and password is on your son or daughter's iPad? If not, this would be an excellent conversation to have with your child. But what's the benefit of knowing the Apple ID password? Well, this is how you really check in on the device activity. Here, you can see apps purchased. You can locate the device if it's lost using Find My iPhone, which we encourage all families to enable. And really, sometimes the possibility for monitoring is just the greatest deterrent. We encourage parents to check in on the Apple ID regularly. Log in to iCloud.com and use the username and password to possibly look at work samples, internet history, favorites, or a wide variety of other information. Some parents may choose to share the Apple ID password with their son or daughter. Others may choose to keep it secret or to change it so that they only know the Apple ID password. This is certainly your right and privilege as a parent or guardian, and as a
Now I'd like to give you a brief tour of the online resources that are available through the School District of Waukesha website. There are a number of different things that you will find on this website that will help you answer questions, troubleshoot problems, and find resources to assist you. If you go to the Waukesha School District website, under the Parents section, you'll find the Technology Help Site link. Click on that link and it will take you to the Public Help site. On here is all kinds of information for you. If you have not visited it before, I encourage you to spend some time looking this over. There are resources here to help you with not only the Waukesha One information regarding your child's iPad, but also Infinite Campus, Blackboard, Google Apps, a student survival guide, technology help desk ticket, which is how you would be asking for help with a broken or damaged device. But today what I'd like to do is take you to the Waukesha One information link. On this link, you're going to see a number of different tabs across the top. Take some time and explore the different tabs and the information that each of them presents to you. The Overview tab includes goals and objectives of the Waukesha One program, the scope, the learning device, namely the iPad, and then our deployment schedule. The instructional practices will give you an idea of what you can look for in your child's learning. What is the personalized learning model that we're all working towards implementing? Some instructional examples of what that would look like. Why are we doing this? Our need for change and the research to support it. The events calendar is typically regarding the rollout schedule that we are a part of. If you go to the Parent tab, which is the one you're probably most interested in, you're going to see the presentations such as this one listed here. You're also going to see a link to the forms. These are the forms that you're going to be asked to sign at the conclusion of viewing this video, namely the financial responsibility form and the student iPad pledge form. These two are both required to be signed by yourself, and the iPad pledge form also needs to be signed by your child before they can receive the device. Also on this page, you will notice that there is an acceptable use policy. This is a form that you've already signed back on our Forms and Fees days in August, but it is here for your reference in case you'd like to take another look at what exactly you had signed already. Back into the Parent tab we go, and you will see Parent Tutorials. This page is helpful because it does give you some short video clips and gives you lots of great advice on topics including setting restrictions on your iPads, viewing different tutorials on how to use and maneuver around the iPad, and how to access and update your child's Apple ID as needed. There's also some great information on internet safety. I know that that is something that most parents are keenly aware of and always looking for more information about. This is a great place for you to go to take a look at what advice experts would offer you as a parent. The last area on here is called the adding internet filtering to your home. If you would have a wireless internet hotspot in your home, you may want to consider looking at the options for settings, restrictions, and limitations on that Wi-Fi access. One free filtering service that you can use is called OpenDNS. This will filter this will put on a number of different restrictions that you may wish to impose on your internet home filtering system. Feel free to take a look at this link. There's also a video clip down below here that will also allow you to see it in action. Going back up now, we have a little bit more on home internet safety, which will include more information on the OpenDNS, the responsibilities that you have as a parent, that your child has as a student, and the staff has as employees of the Waukesha School District. How to report missing, damaged, and found iPads is outlined here. So there's a form that you can fill in if your device is missing, damaged, or found. This will help us begin the process of replacing or repairing an iPad or reuniting it with the original owner who had lost theirs. Next on the parent form, we have a resource for affordable internet if you're looking to add internet to your home. The app inventory, which will tell you what types of items your child will be given access to through their iPad, the different applications that we will be using as part of our learning day. There's also an approved apps and banned apps section, which we'll get to in a little bit. So please feel free to get comfortable with this presentation. Next, on the district website, next you should have received from Apple, directly from Apple, on January 13th, and also February 1st, you would receive an email from Apple asking you to please create an Apple ID for each of your children that are receiving devices here. Each child needs to have their own ID, and the letter that you should have received from Apple would give you a link that will take you to their website so that you can create unique Apple IDs for each of your children. What we are asking for the students of Meadowbrook is to have a password created for them that follows this set of criteria. The first thing we'd like in their password is to have a capital first name initial, followed by their last name, followed by their student ID number, which is their lunch code. And the students are very familiar with how to enter their lunch code. The sample that we have below here is capital J Wagner 12128. So that would be the password that the child or you would be entering anytime they wanted to download any apps that were necessary for learning. We will be asking that you turn in the Apple ID and password for each of your children to the school so that we can better assist them here at school if we would need to have them download an app for a learning activity in the classroom. Before you can take the iPads home, we do have a card that you do need to note their password, their Apple ID, as well as the 3 questions that Apple has asked you as part of their security process. Our goal is to have all the Apple IDs completed by Monday, January 19th. Now that date has already passed, so we are asking that parents complete that process as soon as possible so that we can facilitate a smoother rollout experience for everyone. The rollout dates again were February 2nd and February 5th. In preparation for the rollout, a couple of pieces of information that you would be very interested in. First of all, the iPad will be provided to your child in a case that is also being provided by the School District of Waukesha. The cases are a nice quality, durable case. This is what they look like. It's called the STM case, and it comes in 3 different colors. I believe we'll be getting black cases for our students. But you can see that it allows the iPad to have a nice protected corner. It can be in the typing position, in the stand-up video viewing position, or it can be closed and covered. These district provided cases will be issued with the iPads in them on the rollout days. The password lock. One of the things that your children will need to have created is a password lock, which will prevent other students from gaining access to their iPad and the work that they have stored on their iPad. The password lock will be the first 4 digits of your child's lunch code. Again, this is to make it easy for them to remember and yet secure the device from other students. The lock screen and the home screen images will be a selfie picture that we'll be taking during our setup period. Students may not take the iPads home until all the paperwork is completed by parents and the schoolwork requires the devices to go home. This will be determined by the classroom teachers. There may be nights that the iPad does not come home, which will also be determined by the classroom teachers. How to manage the iPad at home. Parents have asked for some advice as to how to provide a safe experience in a home setting with this technology device. Safety is a concern for all of us. We want the child and the iPad to both be safe as they're getting to know each other. Please consider the limits on use that you would like to create for your home. Our reading and homework expectations will be the same. We're not specifically assigning homework to be done on an iPad necessarily, and additional homework should not be anticipated because we have an iPad. We do ask that you create a recharging station in your home, maybe the same spot where your child puts the iPad every single day. It's a way for you to put an end to their school day or their learning experience by having them plug in the iPad before they go to sleep or as soon as they're done doing their homework on the iPad. We do ask that the child bring it back to school each day fully charged and ready to go. Guidelines for personal apps. Personal apps are to only be used at home. We will not allow the students to have access to the personal apps folder at any time during the school day. Students will be asked if they would like to download up to 5 personal apps at a time to be put into a created home folder. Again, that folder will only be accessible at home. These apps, however, do need to still be educationally appropriate. These are not random gaming apps, and they are to be school-oriented and school-appropriate. Personal apps, including purchased apps, will be deleted as space warrants. Now, just because an app is purchased, it can be installed or deleted off of multiple devices where you use that Apple ID. We are keenly aware that the amount of space on an iPad is limited, and so if there's a need for more space and memory, the personal app folder will be the first to go. Please understand that you still own any of the purchased apps that you have bought, but they may or may not be able to be used on the school-issued iPad. Again, the school-issued iPad is for learning purposes only, not for personal gaming and personal app use. Of course, there are no violent or mature games that are ever appropriate on a school device, and there should be no social media apps at all. Social media reminders. First of all, again, I'll say no social media apps are allowed on school-provided iPads, period. There is a federal law referred to as COPA, which requires that children be 13 years of age in order to gain access to any of the social media apps that you see displayed here. Students should not be creating Pandora, Kik, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, Vine, Tumblr, Pinterest, any of those types of accounts, because they are supposed to be 13 years of age or older. We highly recommend that you follow this recommendation, and we will not allow any of these apps to be on the iPads. In fact, the school district monitoring will be specifically geared towards social media apps, and students who do try and download an app onto their iPad will soon quickly find a red circle with a line through it and the word banned stamped over the top of those apps. Those apps will then have to be immediately removed from the iPad. Personal use reminders. This is a school device, and it is to be used by the student for school purposes. This is not a personal device that they can use at any time or place or in any way that they wish. Again, this is a school device used for school purposes. We have the right to review any iPad at any time for any reason. If there is any inappropriate use or inappropriate apps that are being observed either through an evaluation of the history or by seeing the students using the tools, we do have consequences that will be enforced strictly. Educational apps only is our requirement. You may see the lists on the Waukesha One website of any apps that we recommend or have banned. To wrap things up, you should take a look at the forms that you will be asked to complete and turn into the school office prior to gaining access to your child's iPad. The forms include the acceptable use policy, which everyone had signed at the beginning of the school year. This policy is found on the Waukesha One website and will outline for you all of the expectations that we have in the district for keeping your child safe as we explore the world of technology in education. As I've mentioned, you've already signed this form at the Fees and Forms Day. Here is the Waukesha One Student Family Financial Responsibilities page. We've photocopied this onto green paper at Meadowbrook, and this will be one of the forms in which we require you to sign prior to your child taking home the iPad. This sheet outlines again the costs for damage and loss or theft of the iPad. This is a required form in order for your child to take the iPad home. The student pledge for iPad use is a promise that we ask students to adhere to. Your child's teacher has gone through this with their class members as a prelude to the iPad going home. Please make a note of all of the different aspects of caring for your iPad and ensuring that it's at school each day, fully charged, ready to go. We ask that you go through each of these steps with your child and help them understand how important it is to take good care of this device. We ask that the student and the parent both sign the form and turn it in prior to the iPad being allowed to go home with you. This concludes the Meadowbrook parent presentation for the iPad rollout process. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask either your child's teacher, the front office at Meadowbrook, or any of the members of the Vanguard teaching team that are working with the staff and students to make the transition into the technology Waukesha One rollout possible. You may now take the forms up to the office and turn them in, at which point you will receive your child's iPad. Staff members will be on hand to help you go through the process of uploading your Apple ID and password into the iPad. After that is done, you'll be able to download the core apps that the Waukesha School District is providing to all of its students, and the staff members will be able to assist you in doing that. Thank you for coming and enjoy your technology.